Hello, everybody. I'm Rick McCutcheon, and welcome to PartnerTalks. Today, we have a returning guest with a very interesting story. So, Karolis, tell the folks who you are and what you do, and then we'll jump into your history with Dynamics.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Rick. I'm Karolis Aleknavičius, and I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of ERP Mechanics. And we work with Dynamics, F&O, Supply Chain, and Lasernet.
Yeah, and I think this is a very interesting interview because, we're getting more and more into the stories of our partners and how they got to where they are today. And I love the name of your company, ERP Mechanics. I know the work you do around F&O. So let's talk a little bit about the history and how did you guys get started?
Yeah, so we started in 2017. Actually, it was in Austrian Alps. We were nearly finalizing one of the projects. It was an upgrade project for a huge international company. And one of the evenings we were hiking and discussing, what's next. If we are finished with the project, are we traveling to the next country to, following new projects, or are we going back home and establishing new business, basically? So we stopped being freelancers and we go back and try to unite freelancers, meaning experienced Axapta at the time or Dynamics professionals, basically, and try to do a business, from Lithuania. Like we now have a saying or the motto, like from Lithuania to the world, right? So the idea or decision was actually to go back home after the project and do the company. And the name Mechanics, actually, it was my idea, and at the beginning we were doing just technical work. So we're doing rescue projects, basically, and mostly developments, integrations, and all kind of migrations, and etc. And just going further, we as well started to do functional consulting and designs and implementations and etc. So the name was like Mechanic, which is strong in what we are doing and be able to fix any possible issue, basically, within a field, within a FO.
And it's one of those names where the first time you told me the name of your company, I have remembered it, since, because it sticks with you. It's kind of unique, and it really kind of stands out.
Yeah, I still like it. It doesn't matter if we do as well functional consulting or full project implementation kind of projects. I still like the name, and even we hear from the competitors, that those mechanics, they do some work at the garage, kind of, and so on and so on. I laugh at it. They say, yeah, we oil, we screw, we do some dirty work, but still we are the best, basically.
So how did you get started with AX and finance?
Yeah, AX was probably, I started in 2002 because initially, actually, I was a Unix admin. I was doing like a servers maintenance work, basically, like FTP, SMTP, and all kind of services on Linux and Unix servers. But I was a bit bored, kind of working alone at night, fixing the servers and something like that. And I thought it would be great to go and work and interact with human beings, basically, more, and get to know business processes. And one of my friends, he said, hey, Karolis, Axapta is very complicated system, basically, long projects, very difficult kind of to manage, and so on. I said, that's perfect, good challenge, that's for me. And one of the company, actually in my native, or my hometown, was looking for such person, basically, and I applied and I started to work with 2.5. At that time was Damgard Navision Axapta, something like that. And and of course I kind of understood or realized that it's really complex, And it's not because it's just a software or difficult software to understand or to manage. It's not about that, but it's a software about the processes, business processes. And I always had a question, why my logistic manager in the company I started, why she understands Axapta better than me? I'm a specialist, but she knows it better than me. But the secret was she knew the processes, business processes, right? And basically she could understand the system as well then, because it's nothing else as a business process is implemented or described within a certain coding language or a certain interfaces, basically. So my journey started, and I realized that I have to change as much as possible companies or industries to be able to understand as many as possible processes, really. So like warehousing, manufacture, like a wholesale, retail, and etc. So I have changed quite a bit of company profiles to be able to understand all this. So I started as a developer, but I thought that my career should evolve basically, and to be a good developer, first of all, I have to understand processes and standard functionalities or components of a system to be able to solve customer issues, and of course to be able to design and reuse existing objects to design new requirements by the customer.
So it's amazing when I talk to founders that a lot of founders have the same story as you have. They come along and they run into an ERP system such as Axapta at the time, or a lot with Navision in our world, and they see it as a challenge, right? Here's something that I can learn, and that's really, really interesting, right? Because you're dealing with business processes, and every time you turn a corner, you're dealing with a different kind of business. So I think people like yourself who have been in this for 20 odd years, you have an enormous amount of knowledge about how businesses run, because you get to see so many different kinds of businesses. So let's fast forward to today, and let's talk about ERP Mechanics, because you're building a global organization. So let's talk about your business today and where you're located, where you're going to expand to, and what types of offerings are you bringing to the market?
Yeah, so as I mentioned when we started that, we were freelancers following the projects or like outsourcing business, right? And helping kind of companies or partners in trouble. During the COVID, that has changed a lot. It's not that we stopped doing that, but no, we kind of realized that remote is new normal to everyone, not only to us, who was used to travel and then go back home and do work remotely. During the COVID, everyone had this new opportunity to work remotely, and we realized that resources in Lithuania, where we are based, are lacking basically. And there are projects, but there are no resources able to cope with it. So we turned opposite. Resources left from Lithuania, and ERP Mechanics came back to Lithuania, and we started new full scope projects. And here I would say the real journey of ERP Mechanics has started, because we were not just outsourcing company or body lease company. We started to be a real, I wouldn't say Microsoft partner, but let's say implementer, right? Who started the full scope projects in Lithuania. And just this year we finished our first project that we started, first in Lithuania. We just finished basically last year. And on the way we got other 3-4 projects which went as well live. It was a bit smaller projects. So totally I think we went live with 4 or 5 basically projects now. And during that time as well we met some partners like 4-5, which is called Lasernet now these days, where we kind of realized that SSRS is not the best tool for document layouts to be built, and we started to work with Lasernet, which allowed us or enabled us to as well to establish US, right? And that happened simply going and following the product owners or the the 45 to the conferences, participating with them, basically looking what they're doing, getting to know the team. And after 2-3 years, we decided that we want to be something more than just a regular partner, just to sell and install and implement and maintain. But we want to be a global partner next to their customers, basically. And we established the US last year in February. And I would say we were pretty successful because, like I said, we knew the people on a partner side, and we knew the people in the market who worked with the Lasernet. So that was a key element, I would say, which is as well just repeats myself what I just said at the beginning of the call. Our, I would say, growth and expansion is based on our network, right? So the people we know, the people we trust, and the products we can follow and create value.
And it's amazing in our ecosystem that more partners don't do this. As they're growing, instead of just being a professional services organization, there's so many quality ISVs that you can partner with and grow your business with. I think this is a great example, your work with Lasernet.
They were the first one we met, and we had a good connection, good link, right? And following years or this year, we will try to expand that portfolio. And we have a kind of a roadmap to work with other partners and just expand our portfolio, what we would like to offer to our existing customers. So that will grow, but that will grow on the example with the Lasernet. Basically, we try to do the same model and kind of progress with other partners as well to be able to offer something more to our customers.
So what does the future hold for ERP Mechanics in this world where we're becoming more AI focused and Microsoft uses the term frontier partner? What are your plans around AI?
It's a very good question, and I more often I kind of get this question anyway. And first of all is like, some customers or partners are like, before partnership starts, they say, I'm using AI. And I always think, what should I answer, yes or no? Because I said, if I use AI, they would think, the whole code we do is just via AI. So we're asking too much money, kind of. So I always think that was a good question, what to answer, But of course, I always say, yes, we use. And first of all, we use it for scripting or coding. Save time on simple code writing, and better invest time to design and to the solution architecture bits and pieces. And going forward, I think AI would be used more and more, and we are looking for ways in, let's say, in testing, because we see as well that previously we were hired, let's say, by some, let's say, partners like ISVs to test their solution, right, and to fix bugs and etc. Now those are less and less because they start use testing as well. And we think that our projects could utilize the automated testing as well, and then definitely reporting. And next, I think big thing is to look what AI can offer for project management, because you can always kind of hire more and more project managers, but to automate and to kind of to scale the work and so on would be I think a huge improvement for this position and for the whole company.
Okay, all right, Karolis, thank you for giving us an update on ERP Mechanics. It's always a pleasure having you on Partner Talks, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.